Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis. It is June 19th, or some consecutive amount of 11 days in the future during Season 17, in which the Conflux is the Lost Sector. I'm going to go through on Master. Legend isn't overly that much more difficult or anything. It's just going to be obviously lower level, and you're going to have a few less champions, which probably means you're going to have a few more shields to deal with. Every one of the Incendiors is basically going to be a Void shield that you're going to face in here. Few of them are going to be champions, but you still have a decent amount of Void shields. The burn is solar, so we are going to want to try and take advantage of that as much as possible for damage, barrier, and unstoppable are your champions. So when it comes to barrier, since when I'm making this video, at least sidearms are still not an option. Anti-barrier pulse is your only option, so it's pretty much your choice if you want to do that. Then you've got, or you can do something, if you want to run Arbalist, also very effective. I'm not using exotics in here, but that one would be good. Ariana's Vow, since this has a solar burn, would hit pretty damn hard, actually, so that's not a bad option if you've got it. Anti-barrier is up to you. I'm not using exotics, but those two would both work very well in here, because Arbalist would break all the Void shields, and then you'd basically pop the tank with the second shot. Actually, it would probably be pretty effective. As for Unstoppable, you're either going to have Glaive, which you can do, or you're going to have Scout Rifle, which is what I'm going to do. Either one's probably going to be fine. It's just your preference in what you prefer to use. If you're comfortable with glaives and you like what they're capable of, you can put out a decent amount of damage with those. If you would much rather stay away at range, then you could go Scout. For my mods, I've got Elemental Time Dilation, Explosive Wellmaker, Melee Wellmaker. I'm not using my Bonk build because that's just a little strong. Well of Life, Classy Restoration, and Well of Ordnance. Any way to get those Solar Wells, but then Classy Restoration and a Healing Grenade on Solar 3.0. Kind of something you'll see a lot from me, because it's not going to be the highest DPS, but if you're trying to solo these Lost Sectors, especially if you're trying to solo Flawless them for the Triumphs, this is going to be a way to do that. So I've got a Scout Rifle, basic one. It's Rapid Hit, Focus Fury, nothing amazing, just going to give me some range. Now here's where it kind of gets interesting. The shields are going to be Void, but the burn is Solar. So if you have an Ogma with adaptive munitions, this is a nice time for that. I have one with Turnabout, so if I break a shield, I get an overshield. Kind of a nice little bonus. If you have Ogmas, save one of them if you ever get one with adaptive munitions for this purpose, because Solar Pulses, adaptive munitions, kind of works out every so often if it matches the burn, like this. Another option, of course, would be any Void Pulse Rifle that you've got. When it comes to those... let's see, you've got the Premonition. If you've got that one from the Moon, you've got Grid Skipper, which is an older one that you can run. If you've got Last Perdition, some of these are older, and that's why I know not a lot of you are going to have them, but this is a pretty commonly dropped weapon, the Ogma. Also, if you go look for exotics, energy weapons, you do have Graviton Lance, literally a pulse rifle, and it's Void. And you've got Cosmology, not a bad one to go with there, just because it satisfies all the requirements. Kind of the only one I know that fits that one. If there's any other stuff you guys think would be good in the loadout, of course, you could just use a Kinetic Pulse up here, and then any of the exotics I mentioned. Down here, you want this to be solar, just to make sure you get the most damage as possible. If you want to run something like Xenophage, it smashes most things in this area. I like Xenophage because I have no risk of killing myself with like a rocket or a grenade. But you still have about 28 rounds in the magazine, in the total reserves, so you're able to do a good chunk of damage to most champions, take them out pretty quickly. Xenophage is just one of those I like. I probably wouldn't brave a sword on this one. Too many things want to boop you across the map or set you on fire. If you do want to rocket, just make sure you're playing from distance. You could totally blow some stuff up with Eyes of Tomorrow. That got the 30% boss buff. You've got Gjallarhorn, of course. Linear fusion rifles are going to be good damage. Even, what is the exotic machine gun? Heir Apparent. You get a shield in here, and you've got a solar machine gun that's going to mess stuff up. So you've definitely got some options. Sleeper, going to hit like a truck. So pick a solar heavy, have some fun with it. This is just a non-exotic loadout. Of course, plenty of exotics you guys can use to keep alive. The one I would recommend, because the missiles are actually arc in here from some of the Colossus you'll see. So... Solar, Void, and Arc resistance covered. I am sitting at 91 resilience for that damage resilience. Up to you guys on that one, but let's go inside. I'll show you how it works. I'm going to run the Master difficulty. As I said, Legend just will probably have a few more shielded guys, few less champions, but we're going to run Master. It's basically one arena where enemies spawn in waves. It's not really that difficult. Just use the whole arena, run back if you need to, just watch your timer. Shouldn't overly be that difficult. If you're going for Flawless, you are going to want to play at range. If you're not too worried about the Flawless run, just trying to finish it up, you can be a little more aggressive, and if you die within the first 15 minutes, no biggie. So let's go. All right, so as I said, this is kind of a big arena, and you're literally going to see most of it when you spawn in. So just stay in the back, find the enemies that you can. Again, I'm using the solar pulse so I get the nice bonus of the damage from the burn, but I also have adaptive munitions on this thing, so it's not going to take me like 6 years to work on the void shields. Not the fastest on the void shields, which you'll see, but you're going to have some barrier, you're going to have an unstoppable, so you got quite a few champions to get yourself started. The goal is to kind of pull one of them up here, try and stay in the back. I've got my healing grenade. I'm just trying to pull one up here. The unstoppables will get a little more aggressive and pop up. What I'm actually trying to get him to do. And then stun him. Hang back here in the back. When he gets a little aggressive, just pull back a little farther. Shouldn't be too awful if I don't get too bad of him. There we go. And then same thing. Use your finisher just to conserve your ammo as much as you can. It's going to be a benefit of having a nice finisher. So that's one champion. Same thing here. I'm just trying to pull him up to the upper deck so I can fight him kind of singularly focused without having to deal with the big barrier guy. Now, one thing about unstoppables, I've said this previously, if you finish fighting the unstoppable and then you get out of line of sight before he sees you, he actually won't tend to chase you. Now, that does mean he's going to tend to run away a little bit, which can be annoying, but it's much easier to manage him if he backs off on his own terms, if you're low on, like, an ammo situation. So get away like this, hang back, reload everything, and that way when I go for him next time, I can probably finish him up. Same thing, try and pull him up. The barrier's down there. I'm trying to get the unstoppable guys down first, if possible. If they pull away for whatever reason, you can work on the barrier. Remember, when you get them, this is Master, you get them about 1/6 of health gone, they will get ready to pop their shield damn near instantly. On the other side, though, if you do go on Legend, it takes a little longer for their shield to pop. And that's one thing you want to do. You kind of want to keep an eye on them, and then as you're working them down, just make sure you've always got enough in the magazine as soon as they go to pop their shield, which is pretty quick, that you're able to finish them up. I would run out there and finish him, but I'm getting torched right now, so just giving that one a little space. Trying to get him a little bit closer. I did see a heavy brick drop, so I can get a little more aggressive here on the heavy ammo use. Now, if he hops up here and I'm a bit more aggressive, I should probably be able to manage him. I can just finish him. So take advantage of those anytime you can. Actually, it looks like I got an exotic to drop just randomly, as opposed to from the chest. Now, this is where the adaptive munitions will come into play, but the scions are a little more annoying for the moment. Every so often, I'll try and use my melee just to get that radiant boost. I'll take the brick. I'm not going to argue. So this is where adaptive munitions is going to put the work in for me, because it's a void shield, but eventually I'm just going to do enough damage to that void shield, it's going to go down. And the fact that I have Turnabout on this one, it's not like the strongest perk combination in the world, because it's just not. I mean, Turnabout's fine, it's very situational. But the fact that all I'm doing with this thing is trying to break shields, and when I literally break a shield, I get an overshield, it's not a bad combination. So if you ever get an Ogma with Turnabout and adaptive munitions, for situations literally just like this, if nothing else, not horrible. Now, this is not a great combination because I have two of them. So you have to try and manage to separate these two somehow. That's your goal, is just to separate these two. However you do, it's up to you, but if you are going to put damage into one, then you do know you have to focus him down. That's... I don't even know how that happened. Now, that could honestly be one of the Incendior tanks on the ground. You'll see those occasionally. Apparently, I got a Helm State 14, and those things just occasionally explode, and if that happens and you're near it, that will happen. So if you're going for flawless, careful of those Incendior tanks like these things that are sitting on the ground, because those will truly ruin your day, because that solar burn and those explosions, I don't know if there's a buff that makes explosions or fire or ground effects hit a little harder, but I'm definitely feeling them more. I didn't look at all the debuffs, but it definitely feels like something I should have paid attention to, because they do hurt. Trying to find, at some point, try and isolate these two barrier guys, but if they're just going to play buddy-buddy over here, it makes my life real difficult. Yeah, I didn't have those two just hanging out right next to each other last time, so it wasn't quite as frustrating. Yeah, those little grenades then paired with everything else that's going on makes life a little more interesting on this one. I can't believe this just like combination of these two together. Oh, these two are just gonna ruin me. Well, you can have a bad luck situation like this, apparently. That's fun. If I can break this guy's shield and then just get a few heavy shots on his tank, that'll probably kill him. A little rangy, but that's totally fine. If you can explode the tanks on the back end, that's probably going to be preferable, so they're not sitting on the ground like little bombs. Now, why do you have to do that? Okay, I got one more Incendior over there who's trying to light me up. You guys get the idea. Every so often, if you use Classy Restoration, I got plenty of healing this way. If I need the other healing, I'll just go ahead and use the healing grenade as kind of a quicker pop. And this is the tank I'm talking about. That thing's just a little bomb waiting for you, and as the burn is solar, those things are pretty lethal. Okay, somehow I have to separate these two. It seems ridiculous right now that they're just... Yeah, that's just bad. Not entirely sure how I'm going to manage this. Because if I stun one, the other one just walks over. So I need to, like, line of sight one of them somehow. But have the other one still be, like, firing at me. That's, like, my goal. Yeah, so this is a point. This kind of works. Get that reload quick, because you know he's going to pop that shield soon. Yeah, so something like this may be an option. You're just going to have to find a way to separate them, because trying to stun and manage both of them is just going to get a little on the tricky side. And also, if you're going for that flawless run, going to get a little scary. I died once already, so watch the bombs on the ground. But now that I've only got one to manage, this is much more reasonable. Now, he probably ran all the way to the back, which can't do much about that. He's probably going to pop a shield here, which is okay. Healed up. I'm going to go for the heal just so I can make sure I get that shield break. I'm going to jump up here. Kind of whiff everything I was going for. How am I not able to finish you? Now I can. Little too aggressive there, but we made it work. Alright, so now you got a few Incendiors, and then we'll get the boss to spawn after these guys are down. So I think it's 2 waves with champions, and then you'll see the remainder. Or right there's the boss. Told you I was getting close. Unstoppable champion, so again, just use the whole room and pull back when you need to. That's really all the hard part is here. Just don't get too aggressive, and you probably should be okay. I'm just gonna melee these guys for entertainment value. Are you really getting up top, getting a little aggressive there? See those tanks? I like exploding the tanks anytime I can. Makes life a little simpler when you know those tanks aren't going to get you later on. Same thing with these guys. I'll try and get a little more aggressive to speed this up. It's not overly a difficult lost sector. It's really not. It's just more of trying not to overextend in those moments where you need to be a little more conservative. Finish where you can. And then when you go for the boss, he's got another set of adds that come out at about half health. That's just one of those things to pay attention to as well. Anytime you can go for those tanks... Oh, come here. There you go. One less thing that's going to explode on your feet. Now, the boss, if possible, try and get Radiant if you're running Solar. That's going to allow you just to get that bigger bonus damage on the boss if you're going to use something like your Super. So if I can get that thing posted up. You need to find that one ad who's running around. Oh, come here. I'm trying to sit here and get some damage on this guy. you go. Not bad, not amazing, but not horrible. Get him cooked for a little while. Take some bonus damage. Again, you do enough damage, you are going to get some adds to spawn, so just be aware that they're coming. Where machine gun will work fairly well just to mow these guys down. This thing has, like, the reload speed of molasses coming out of a jar. Oh, my... Okay, well, as I said, be careful. Apparently that Scion was on a suicide mission. But I'll leave the deaths in there for you guys so you know that it's, for one, a real run, and two, how these things can explode. So if you are going for flawless and you're like, man, I just instantly died, this is why. You don't quite expect those things to be hitting you the way they are, and then all of a sudden something explodes that you feel shouldn't, and then you're dead. Solar burn and little bomb explosions are just apparently the worst thing ever. I think fire's slow, but it hits pretty hard, so I'll take it. Should be at this point. If there's no more adds and he's that low on health, I should finish it up here shortly. A couple more adds to finish up. I'll throw the healing grenade down so I can just kind of heal through probably whatever he's going to throw at me and finish him up. And this is just an Archon's Thunder with Quick Draw, which isn't even a great perk. I did put Backup Bag on there, so I've got a few more bullets. You could put Boss Spec on there. It's kind of up to you on if you want the longer clip or if you want the little bonus damage, but you got to reload more frequently. Go ahead and open up. I got an exotic on my last one, so can't complain that I didn't get it double back-to-back. But that is the Conflux Lost Sector on Nessus. Again, I used adaptive munitions, but you have a decent amount of Void shields. So if you want to use a Void Pulse and you've got one, cool. If you've got an Ogma with adaptive, kind of get that bonus of taking advantage of the solar burn. Whatever you want to use for barrier, again, you've got Arbalist, you've got Ariona's Vow, a couple of those are always good, and then just make sure your heavy is solar and you should be good to go. Back to the surface to wrap this up. So that is the Conflux, doing that on Master. Of course, if you're farming these things, Legend is always going to be quicker and your drop rate on Master isn't exactly higher, but if you're going for the Triumphs, I figured I'd show you the difficult version. But I don't think this thing's going to be that hard to farm on Legends, so if you are looking for legs today or whatever the exotic is in the future, this is probably a good one to farm because it's one confined room, and if you get a decent loadout and things going on, you can probably melt this one fairly quickly, I would imagine. I'll probably try it on Legend. If you guys want to see like a Legend speed run in a future time that this thing comes out, let me know in the comments below. But if you found this video helpful, drop a like on this video. Just a nice free way to support it. If you have a loadout that you like using in here, drop that below in the comments as well. If you want to find me on Twitter or Twitch, it's Ebontis. Right here on YouTube, if you have not subbed, I've got in my big How Anyone Can Solo the Duality Dungeon completely without really trying all that difficult. That one is going to come out tomorrow, so if you guys want to check that one out, that will be appreciated. And then if you guys are YouTube members or Patreon subs, thank you for the extra support. All of you are awesome. I'll see you soon.